and I started in Mexili with Madhav. So the main the main goal for Mexili is to basically create a platform to these open source maintainers, which may lack any support they get from the developer community, but through this platform they can get the access to people like you, and together we all can help scale these projects and create that magical impact that they possess. So, uh, why Mexili Winter of Code? It's basically our pilot program to allow everyone to contribute to our projects, to the projects of other mentors, basically promote this feeling of open source. And we all have a lot of time right now. Why not contribute to something useful? So we have a lot of mentors here. One of them is Ankit. Harsh was here as well. Priyansh also. We'll be introducing our projects in this meeting. We'll be interacting with you, and if you have any questions during the meeting, stop us. Stop us during the meeting. Do whatever you want. It's basically a to and fro meeting. Nothing too serious. And yes, the mentors will tell you what they expect out of you, and they'll be guiding you through their code bases. Maybe not enough, but basically to give you a gist of it so that you have an understanding of the projects, and then probably you can contribute better to the projects. All right then, should we start? Or if anyone has any questions, they can ask me right now. Okay, no questions now. All right then, probably I should start. We'll start with Ankit. Ankit has one of the highest position that a person can have in an open source organization.
Uh,
He
Not
is
again.
the Discord moderator of the channel. So if you see QEDK, you text him, and if you have any issues with Discord, you can contact him or otherwise as well. He's also a mentor at our organization. He has two awesome Rust projects which are pretty popular in the Rust community. So Ankit will explain you. Ankit, you can take the sharing screen feature now.
Yeah. All right. Just gonna.
Oh, and yes, at the end of the meeting, we have a surprise, and stay tuned for that. Sure, do that.
All right. So first, like I think the first thing that if you're looking to contribute to any Rust project, like just look up Rust book, click on the first link, and you'll be redirected to this page, right? And what this is basically known colloquially in the Rust community would be
Ankit,
the book. Yeah.
first tell them why they actually require Rust in the first place. We have a lot of mentees here.
Right. So the reason that I'm asking to learn Rust is because the two projects that I'm maintaining, one is config parser RS and the other is ini-rs, and both of them are written in Rust, right? And also, like if I could not convince you to learn Rust yet, one reason would be that a lot of new teams are being made at Amazon and Microsoft and all of these cloud companies because Rust is traditionally better at managing memory safety than traditional programming languages, and people just love writing Rust. So that I think should be the prime motive of learning and learning how to program in Rust, right? And for I'll just take you through the book like just for a few minutes and what you should aim to learn from this book. And honestly, the first thing that you should do is to go through this in its entirety. It's only around 20 chapters, and you should honestly just do all of it from top to bottom because it'll give you a very good idea of what the Rust programming language is. You can think of it as fancier C++, so to say, but a lot of the syntax is actually different. It's not the same. But again, like if you know C++ or you know C, then I think you'll fit into the Rust programming language pretty well. Now that I've spoken about the book a bit, let me walk you through what config parser is. So
Ankit,
this is the
Rishabh has a question. Maybe like clarify. He's asking what benefits does Rust provide over Python or C++?
all right. So what Rust has something novel. I mean, I wouldn't call it novel, so to say, but what it popularized was the concept of what's called a borrow checker. So in typically in something like Python or C++, if you tell the memory to like just transfer a value or copy over a value, it'll just do it for you, right? It'll automate it for you. But what Rust is immutability. So immutability means that once you have a certain value assigned to a certain memory location, that would be modified in the runtime at all, ever again. Like once something is immutable, it's immutable, right? That is one concept. And the other is what's called, as I said, borrowing, or the concept of ownership. So let's say that you have a certain string. Let's take any string like addition, right? It can be immutable. So like that would be the literal strings, which you cannot modify at all. And then you would have something called an owned string. So an owned string is something that is a location of memory that gets passed around from a scope to scope. So let's say that you have a function A and a function B, and function A owns a certain string, right? The only way that it can be passed to function B is if the ownership is passed. Like you like the memory location isn't just shared across. The compiler actually checks to see that A does not have this anymore, B has this now. And then once B is done with it, either B can keep it or B can give it back to it. So that is the concept that Rust has popularized, which is memory safety and this concept of a borrow checker, right? Uh, if anyone has any other questions from Rust, like feel free to ask. Like just um,
Uh, One more thing that I
Yeah,
really
hello.
enjoy. Sorry, Jaskirat. Go ahead.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, please continue. No issues.
Yeah, I just wanted to add another thing, that one thing that I really enjoy about Rust over C or C++ is that it has something called cargo. So it has a better dependency management
Yeah.
system than C or C++. So it's analogous to how NPM or pip works for Python, but you have something like that on a lower level language. So uh, you have a much faster language, but you don't have to like manually inject every dependency like you would do in C or C++.
Yeah, exactly what he said. So, like if I have to compare it to Python, I think like because just because the wording is easier to say. So like crates would be like the PyPy where the files actually are hosted, and then you would have cargo would be something like pip, right? That allows you to install those packages. And so basically, these two parts interact with other things so that they can allow you to deal with dependencies. So let's just walk you through the what config parser is. If you've used Python, you must
Wait,
already know what config
I think
parser is, which is
Jaskirat had a question. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, sure.
Uh, Jaskirat, you had something to say?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask that like personally talking about myself, like I don't know Rust language. So like if I got a like project or something on GitHub to like contribute, so like if I open the docs, like how should I proceed with that so that I should be able to contribute something or like to the project. Like where should I start in Rust? Because like personally I have JavaScript tech stack, so like can you please tell how should I do that?
Um, as I just said, like you should go through the book first, like before any development at all. That is like the first step. It will take what like 1.5 days at most. And like I know you're in a JavaScript tech stack, but I think that uh, like having an additional programming language in your basket is definitely a benefit, right? Like you don't need to be proficient at Rust to contribute to config parser. If you learn the basics of Rust, I'll be sure that I can guide you through whatever questions you have about the repo. But the first step would be to actually know the basic syntax and the concept of this ownership and borrow checking that you need to kind of understand before you can delve into any Rust project. And again, it's not as hard as I might make it seem. I'm sorry if it seems difficult to you, but like as Sanskar will also tell you, it's actually a very interesting and it's not even that difficult. So I encourage all of you to actually learn it. Do you have any more questions about Rust? Like I'm up to answer any of them. Okay, I'm guessing there are no questions. So let's walk you back to what config parser is, right? So basically, if you have ever used an ini file, it probably looks something like this, right? So like this is a section header, this is a key, and this is a value. So what basically config parser does is to provide a suitable API to deal with these values. So you can access things by section, you can access things by section and the key, and all of that stuff. And the way that we have implemented this in config parser is using a hash map. And if you think about it, that's pretty much it. But what you have done is to provide an API that's as customizable as possible and something that is like extensible, so other people can use it in any way they want, right? So let's take you through an example of how you would use config parser. So the first step would obviously be installation, and the way that you install a dependency in Rust is to basically include this in your cargo.toml file, right? And then Cargo automatically installs the crate for you, and then you can use it. This would be what you typically do as import in Python. So you have use, this is the crate name, this is the module name, and this is the name of the struct. And so we initialize an ini object, then we read a certain string, which has the value, and then we can access an integer. Then we can assert that we actually got the integer, and then we can take like a random string and see what it does. I have actually like worked a lot on the documentation to ensure that you can understand how the API actually works. So there is documentation for every function and every module. And again, if you have any questions, you can always ask me on Discord, or you can reply to the issues on GitHub. Like I'm active there, so it's up to you. This is just basically a short example that will show you like what the API will allow you to do. Uh, like you just need to search config parts and creates.io and you will find it. This like this should be the first result. And this is all about examples, right? Now going to the repo, basically everything that you should work with is in the src file, in the src folder. So we have any.rs and lib.rs. This is the module, and this is just to expose it to the crate. So there's nothing much here, but most of the work will be in the any.rs file, right? Currently, like since it's a pretty simple application or like an API, then there is like I didn't find need to separate into different files. So everything is just in this one file, and there is your documentation for each of the functions. So you can just read them. That's pretty much it. Currently, I have only two issues, which is I want a function that returns the current defaults that have been specified, and another one to have the comments, the comments stay in as they're supposed to. This one is pretty difficult, but I think if you want to work on this, I think it's a very good first issue, and it's also easy for to solve. Especially for a Rust beginner, I think it's a good way to learn Rust. The other package that we'll be going through is ini.rs, which is my other Rust package. And this is basically has the concept of what's called a Rust macro. So a macro is essentially in the format of like a word followed by an exclamation mark. And a macro is what you would call like an inline function. Like it's not an inline function, just to get
Similar
out of the
to
way.
C++ macros, like if you would have used.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like macros in Rust are like very extensible. They are not essentially in other languages. Macros would be like in place replacement, right? But in Rust, macros are more like lambdas in Python. So you can actually customize the behavior of macros in different ways, and they can actually essentially behave as functions or as gateway to functions. And this app basically, this API essentially is built on top of config parser to do that. And I think that's pretty much it for introduction, right? And yeah, I've spoken a lot. And again, if you have any questions about the packages or the Rust language, feel free to ask me now.
Ankit, before we end your talk, do you want to
Yeah.
flex your downloads that you get on crates? Maybe,
Uh,
maybe just to give everyone uh, bas- an
okay.
example to see on how large scale project they'll be working on if they contribute to this one.
I mean, it's not that large.
But
It's
it's
around, yeah, it's
not
around
enough for the.
9,728. Yeah. So that's what the current number is.
So yeah, so it's I believe a good time to involve in this project. Uh, yeah, Rishabh, it's similar to how node packages would exist for npm. Similarly, a REST package exists in the REST ecosystem.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask that, like for example, if I'm like starting my journey with Rust, so like what should like can you tell some beginner level projects, like some awesome ideas so that I can get an hands-on experience?
Yeah, so basically, search for this project called Rustling, right? Or Rustlings, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, let me just show you. So I recommend that you do this in addition to the Rust book. What basically Rustling is, it's like a command line tool that will teach you how to do Rust step by step. So it's pretty simple to install. Like if you're on Linux, just download it from Rustlings, and Bash. If you have Bash, it'll take care of the rest. That's what I recommend doing at least. You do Rustlings and you do the Rust book, and I think that's pretty much it. Like you don't need to do actual projects to learn Rust, in my opinion, because if you learn the book like really well, I think you will get at least 90% or 80% of what Rust can be, like in implementation, if not the underlying technology.
And the rest 20% will only come over time, irrespective of how many sandbox projects you do.
Yeah.
So these things will only you'll only gain them over time. So don't restrict yourself to toy projects or like small projects. And the project
So
which really teaches you Rust is that multi-threaded web framework project in the Rust book. That is really helpful. Um, all right,
yep.
Ankit, I'll be probably ending your session now because we have other mentors waiting.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm definitely. I was done already.
yeah. So we have Madhav here. So Madhav is also a co-founder of Mexili. He and I started together, and I believe he dropped off again, probably due to some internet issues. So we have Harsh next. Harsh, probably you can explain your project now.
Did you call me up?
Yeah, you
Cool.
can explain your project now.
Yeah, I will be just turning off my camera because I want to conserve my network bandwidth. So let me share my screen. So my project isn't that complex like Ankit's. It is a very simple project. Like I have got two of my projects under the hood. So maybe if you are a beginner, if you want to just get started with scripting and development, then possibly you can take a look at these projects. So the very first project is Rotten Scripts. And just like the name is evident, it is a script that will make you go, wow. So long story short, it is just a collection of scripts. Some of them are automation, some of them are web scraping. Some of those scripts work directly with the cloud interface. And it allows you to do a lot of things. So you can basically hit up the repository. You can take a look at the various issues that are present in the repo. So if I take a look at the Python issues, then there are a ton of things available here. So maybe I need to get better at my organizing skills, but it is something that you can do during this entire program. So this project has been a part of a lot of open source programs, some of the notable ones being P Club Summer of Code and Student Coding. So this is something like we have got a whole lot of community here. There are a couple of other maintainers who can basically guide you up. If you want to get started with a video, then this video is by one of our code maintainers. Maybe you can take a look into it. Let me just share the link here. Yeah. So this will basically tell you on how to get started with the project and how to make your first pull request. So right now we are just supporting Bash, Golang, JavaScript, and Python. We don't have any other languages like Rust. So maybe if you're putting up some time in learning about Rust lang through Ankit's project, maybe you can come up here and create some beginner-friendly issues in Rust so that we can have some code for that particular language as well. Coming to the issues part, there are a ton of open issues. So some of these issues are taken by people up, but they are not completed. So maybe you can just bring up those issues and can see on what is the progress update on them. But some of these issues has been like pending for past 4 to 5 months, I would guess say. So you can just take them up and you can start working on them. Just let me know so that I can put up the appropriate labels for them. Coming on to the future aspect of the project, I don't have any, but the only thing is that I want to have a website for this. So maybe I don't want to deploy this from my own personal handle, and maybe I have plans to shift this to a particular organization, maybe Tesseract Coding, which I have co-founded, but that is not in plans right now. So we can have something like a static site generator, just like what Mexili is using, or perhaps a dynamic site. I don't have any plans for that now. But if you're coming up with any proposal like that, feel free to ping me up. We also have a discussion tab, so you can take a look onto what we can do that right here, and you can possibly create a new discussion, and you can start tinkering out all the details that you want to implement. And coming on to the pull request part. So this part is quite of a nuisance because there are a lot of GitHub actions, there are a lot of checks, but sometimes those checks doesn't pass all the time. So if you want to get started with the same, then perhaps this is something that you can take a look at initially. But I would just recommend you to get started with the open issues first of all, because some of them are been pending for a long time. So you can start by contributing to them. Any questions for rotten scripts? RJ, if you have any such idea, please create an issue for that and add as many details as you have so that I can potentially take a look into it and give you a green signal before you make a PR.
So
Any on this?
I don't think so.
Okay, because it is that simple. Yeah. Let me go to the second project. Let me see if this is loading. Yes. So this is the project right now. Its name is All Notes. If you are not familiar with Python or scripting, or perhaps you want to get your hands with some bigger project that can be deployed somewhere, then this is the perfect choice for you. So this is All Notes. The standard idea is same. We want to have a web application powered by MERN MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. So if you're a JavaScript junkie, then perhaps this might be the right project for you. So this project is also part of another mentorship program known as WooTech. It is completely reserved for girls. I can see that one of my mentees is actually in this meeting as well. So you will get a lot of collaboration from them as well, because they have done a very good job in developing the user interface design and the user experience through various prototyping tools. But there is still a lot of work to be done from the front end and the back end perspective. So this is something that you can get a hang of if you want to get started. The issues are not open for now, but maybe I will just add them by tomorrow. These will be some of the starter issues that you can take up and you can start contributing to them. The good part about this project is that it is completely a feature development project. So you might need to take a lot of ownership on what feature you are trying to develop. So it isn't like taking up one small issue by the time. You might need to take up a larger issue so that you can complete it by the end of the week and make a PR for the same. So there is not much about this project. I don't have any documentation for that because it literally started only 1.5 months back, I guess. So there is still a lot of work to be done, but this is exactly the place where you can make an impact for yourself. And there are some learning resources as well: React, MongoDB, API design in Node.js. So if you know basic JavaScript, then these are the preferred places where you can get started up. Just as a side note, they are from the front-end masters. Front-end masters is offered on a premium basis. So if you don't have a GitHub student developer pack, you might not be able to access this resource, but you can simply apply for that. And in the meantime, you can check out some other free resources, preferably on Traversy Media, to check out those projects as well. Check out those courses as well.
Yes,
Sorry.
Nimit, everyone can contribute to this project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I really like this Rotten Scripts project because people really praise my Vim setup, and my Vim setup was also inspired by a similar project where you have a collection of scripts and you can basically see what what other people are using in their daily workflow, and you can improve your productivity by a lot. And that these scripts are also a basic way to improve your scripting language skills if you are interested into that, because for bash scripting, most of what we do is basically Google almost everything what we write. If we are not like most of these developers are not very proficient in Bash when they start out. So developing smaller scripts and taking this as a reference will also help you out improve your skills in smaller scripting languages. And as
Exactly.
and Harsh said, this his second project of block generation is provides a variety of issues that can allow like beginners to as well as um, experienced developers, and it also gives enough ownership to people to freely implement these new features. Uh,
Yes.
can you flex your
Uh,
wings? Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So just as a side note, I'm just adding one last note. Both of these projects are not going into production anytime soon. These are just some of the hobby projects of mine. So if you are like contributing to the same, don't have any reservations on following any strict type checks. We will be implementing that, but not right now. So if you have any ideas, no matter how crazy or no matter how not feasible it is, just come up with them and maybe we can take a look on how we can create a work around them. So consider both of these projects as your own. Come up to the discussions tab or maybe ping me on Discord and we can have a real nice discussion on what we can do with this so that we can make a positive impact during this whole Winter of Code program.
Nice. All right. Uh, so, do we, Priyansh, would you want to present your project next?
Yeah, sure. Uh,
Wonderful.
so, hello everyone, this is Priyansh Garg, and I'm currently the project mentor of Jagrati Web. Let me share my screen. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
So Jagrati is an initiative by the students of our institute to provide education to poor and underprivileged children of nearby villages surrounding our institute. We usually teach them at the evening time in our institute itself. So this project is a small initiative from my side to help volunteers manage day-to-day operations at Jagrati in a better way, and to help them manage like student attendance, classwork homework given to them, and all those activities. Uh, I've made this. This is basically a normal web application built in Python Django, and for the front end, I've just used Bootstrap and plain CSS. Uh, so uh, it contains just 2 to 3 modules. Like one is accounts module where all the credentials part is managed, like login, sign up, etc. And then uh, in the apps module, I have students module where all the students data is maintained and the volunteers module. And there is one home module here, which like integrates the whole application, like volunteers and students part. It is where I've managed all the classwork homework thing. So I have a bunch of open issues in this project. Some of them are assigned already, but the bottom ones are really inactive right now. Uh, so you can just ask on the issues. If they are not working, you can take them up. And there are a few not non-assigned issues as well. And if you have any problem, you can ping me on Discord. That's all.
Thank you, Priyansh. Uh, so, as you all can see, that it, it is a Python project that everyone was requesting. And since Python is a language that is loved by everyone, it would have been strange if we didn't have one in our winter of code. And his project actually impacts a lot of people immediately. So many projects are the projects which have a potential impact that they can possibly have. But Priyansh's Jagriti web app is used to teach a lot of underprivileged children. So by working on this project, you can work on a project that is actually meaningful and you can do your part if you want to do something for the society. All right, next, we can have Madhav present if he is available, or otherwise, do we have any other mentors in the meeting right now? Sorry if I'm unable to find you in this pool of people. Uh, Priyansh, can you share Jagriti Web Apps GitHub link in the chat?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute.
Okay, so I don't think that we have any other mentor right now. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be presenting Madhav's project, which is scribble.me, and then I'll be presenting two of my projects. Uh, Before I do that, do we have any other questions? Like, even if they're in general related to winter of code and not to any specific project, you can send them. You can ask me. You can ask any of the mentors which are present in the meeting. All right. So yeah, I don't think we have any other questions. I'll be sharing my screen now. Let me know once it's visible. Yeah. Is my screen visible to everyone? Or let us.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out the projects, we have our organization at GitHub/Mexili. So three projects are the ones which I closely know, and I know them down to the core code base. So one is CSSify. Oh, actually, there are four, and there is Aiden, and there is Incogli, and there is one which Madhav created, who is also a co-founder of Mexili. It's called Scribble. Yeah. So first, I'll be presenting you what Scribble is. So Scribble started during this last year's coronavirus lockdown, and the universities were unable to have this Scribble day. And we all know when you are in the final year of, let's say, your school or your college, these scribbles actually mean a lot at that time. It's a lot of it involves a lot of emotions, and it's a really important day. Or it's one day that you remember throughout the journey. But unfortunately, we couldn't have that uh, due to coronavirus. So uh, Madhav created this virtual scribble day, virtual scribble. So if I go to scribble.me, I'll see if it allows me to log in. Yeah. So what it does is basically you have this virtual T-shirt and you can share your link with other people. You can draw anything that you like with someone else. I don't know what's the issue with this, but you can basically draw anything here. You can share your T-shirt. You can scribble on other people's T-shirt. The This project is not actually as simple as it looks because it involves something called the HTML canvas. And if you are a little bit familiar with the HTML APIs, you would realize that it is one of the hardest things to do in HTML or in basically all of front-end development because you have to interact with the native browser APIs and you have to make sure that this project is working well on every browser. I'll try to edit it again. Okay, it's not working. Fine. But yeah, so it's the basic gist of it, and it also has some issues. I'll walk you through them. So it has a simple issue of adding multiple themes and supporting multiple t-shirts. So right now, a single user can have only a single t-shirt, and if you basically what we want to have is that add an ability to have multiple t-shirts in case one of the t-shirt gets filled by your friends. So you don't have to actually reset it, and you have all the memories associated in a single space. So I believe Aditya is already working on this issue. So it has here he's adding a feature of adding multiple themes. So yeah, that is a brief about Scribble. Let me know if any one of you have a question. Otherwise, I'll be moving on to a different project. Yes, Shubh, your contribution was much appreciated. Thank you. I don't think we have any other question. So I'll be closing Scribble and I'll be introducing what CSSify is. So CSSify project is a project that is very close to my heart because most of us have once in our life worked with CSS. And if you are a HTML or if you have ever worked with CSS and you have not hated it once in your life, and I believe that you haven't done enough CSS because all of us have worked with CSS and CSS always either comes out to be too bloated on our website, slows our website down, or maybe it's too difficult to manage for us and write that concrete CSS. So what CSSify does is it basically solves that issue. It is a framework that creates a custom framework for you. So let's say you want to use a layout library of Bootstrap. You want to use the columns and the row layout, but you don't want to use the other pre-built components that it ships with it. You don't actually have to do that. You can just create a. You can just select the layouts options from our website, and you can basically print it out. You can create a custom CSS framework for you. So let me see if I can find a video for you. I'll be sharing this link here. So it is a quick video that we created. It's a very cheesy video, but it also involves a demo that will allow you to get acquainted with the project. And I hope that you all contribute to it. I'll be walking you through the issues that exist now. And one, there are a few easy issues, and there are a few beginner issues, uh, uh, difficult issues. Sorry. So difficult issues are if you want to follow the block element modifier styling, adding hot module reloading. If you're not aware of what they are, you can uh, contribute to something like creating a new design. I saw that there was a new design today, and yeah, so I'll be sharing this link now. You can probably watch it on your screen. Otherwise, I'll share this on my screen share. And now I'll be. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Uh, they literally make Van Gogh ads in CSS. Yes. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? I don't want to read what Ankit said. All right, perfect. So we don't have any questions right now. And this is the project that in Cogly that I created during one of my MLH fellowship, and this project scaled up massively after that. So what this project is basically it addresses this current situation. Like right now, many of the people that are present in this meeting are either anxious or either are too lazy to share the screen. So what this does is basically it allows you to create a audio a cartoon character, or it avatarifies your video conference, which allows you to have anonymous video calls. And another feature that it solves is that we have given a lot of interviews, like Ankit, I, all the other mentors, and we felt that always there was an implicit bias either towards us or either to against us. And even if this wasn't the case, it's easier to blame on a person rather than tell yourself that you probably lack the programming skill because you weren't selected. So, removing an implicit bias, if the humans are visible, is probably a hard task due to human mentality. So, what we did was we created an anonymous field on their interview, so you don't know who's present on the other side. And the only thing that you can judge a person on is their technical skills. So, if you want to take a look at a project, it's present at incogli.ml. The other two projects that I showed you, CSSify, the production or the build pipeline crashed, so I cannot show you that live deploy. But here it is the incogli.ml, and if you click on collaborate, it will generate a new room for you to try out, and it will allow you to like create a virtual avatar over the opposite person's face. So right now I'm using a virtual camera, right? So you can't see what I'm showcasing. And here's a dev post video that we presented as a pitch for a hackathon project. It's still very relevant for the current stage of the project. So if you want to check it out, I'll share the link here. And yeah, this is in Cogly. And one of the projects that I want to, it's the last project that I'll be presenting. It's called Eden. This project really was popularized recently because it got featured on the Google TensorFlow channel. And Shivai, who was a mentor of this project and also a mentor at Mexili Winter of Code, gave that talk. So this project was created by Ankit, Shivai, and I. So this project basically allows you to do, it's a virtual physio assistant that works in Hindi and English, and it monitors your exercise that you do in front of a camera to ensure that you are using the right posture, and you are basically the issue with video tutorials was that you don't know if you're following them correctly. You are just following them. This project ensures that your exercise and your physio health is done in the proper way. This project has a very concrete roadmap. We plan to integrate TensorFlow JS in this. Right now, we are using this MVP, which uses a Face API, but we have very concrete talks for it. It is all of the projects that I presented follow the HTML, JavaScript, and basically the front-end ecosystem using React, Next, and Recoil, a variety of front-end languages, but most of them are focused towards JavaScript tech stack. Here, if you want to see, you can find the roadmap. It's present in the GitHub repo. And if you want to try this project out, uh, and see, just a second. Yeah, you can test this project out here. You can start the project. You can do your exercise. So if you say shuru ho ja or begin exercises, this the virtual assistant will start and you can monitor your exercises in front of the webcam.
Hello, my name is Aiden. I'll be your physio assistant.
So yeah, here is a 3D virtual assistant that we created. And if you probably share your avatar, I'm not going to do that because it will throttle my machine with 2 video calls right now, but you can check it out on your own. So that was it from my side. Yeah, all right. Ankit is the org admin at Wikimedia as well. Big flex. And yeah, that's it from my side. If you have any other questions regarding, and that's probably it for the project presentation as well. If you have any questions regarding these projects or any other questions that you have with us in general, you can ask me right now.
Come on, guys. One question.
One question.
Make us feel included.
Or any question regarding open source in general.
Yeah. Anything is fine. Like interviews, MLH fellowship. What else have? Like GSOC. Like, come on, anything.
Are you sure you want to open that box of worms?
Which box?
MLH fellowship.
Oh. We do have 3 fellows here, though.
Look
now
at this.
that I
Hey,
think.
MLH fellowship. That's it. The questions are going to start now. I was rejected. What can I do for next time? Be prepared to get 20 of those questions.
Apply only.
I mean, that's the same with GSOC, man. Come on, like they're overly competitive, and
It's GSOC, but like, let's just say it's a little less competitive than GSOC for sure.
yeah, I mean, the application doesn't take as much effort as well, right? GSOC would require like a very amazing proposal. So
Yeah.
And the interviews are also more beginner friendly.
yeah, definitely.
Hello, can you guys explain about the proposal thing actually?
Of
GSOC.
Any kind of proposal, like are you supposed to propose your idea or they are supposed to give you the project, or I'm just confused, like.
I mean, it depends on the org, right? So giving Wikimedia as an example, generally we will put out around 10 to 12 ideas every year. And we also allow participants to have any amount of, like submit any proposal that they want. And most orgs will allow you to submit your own proposals. Some of them won't. So you should check in with your org admin first and know that. So yeah.
Also, Rishabh, regarding your question, Ankit can tell you a lot more than I can about the open source track at MLH, but there are 2 other tracks that are not at all similar to GSOC. There's the Explorer, where you'll be working on hackathons with hackathons and project sprints with your podmates, and that's meant to be just like build your portfolio kind of thing. And there's also the externship track where you'll be leased out to one of their partner companies, so to speak. Yeah. Free interns for hire kind of thing. But basically, they'll send you to one of their partners to intern, and that's about it.
Just to correct Shikaran, they're actually paid
Yeah,
by
that.
that
Yeah, yeah.
company, so it's not. Yeah.
And before we continue, can we have like the screenshot for social media or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
I would request you all to turn on your like, video cams.
Oh, Karthike, hi. Didn't notice you there.
Hi Shri. Hi RJ.
Putting everyone in the screen.
So clearly, everyone was ready to turn their cameras on. Like I feel very betrayed by all of you. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still not turning it on. I've been sneezing all day and I look like shit.
That I could have said a very mean joke there, but
Go
Well,
ahead, go ahead.
in
I mean, you
we are a friendly community. We don't miss people unnecessarily.
yeah, I think everyone got what I was gonna say, so it's fine.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I have taken one screenshot. Ankit, can you take one other one so that we can probably merge other people if it's.
Yeah, sure. Let me just go to the tile thing. Uh,
And how do I include more than like 9 people tile on my screen?
I think it's
you
On
go to
change the
tiles
layout
and then
one.
16.
just put it at the maximum.
Layout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just layout, then have tiles to like the max. And I
Where,
think
where is the layout button? I will share my screen if you all
The
can
three
write it.
dot menu at the bottom right corner.
Oh, okay.
okay,
So
I took
change
one.
the
I'll just take another one for good measure.
Oh, I can get 45 tiles.
perfect.
So I got everybody if you want a screenshot.
Yeah, share it on Discord or like with the community.
Done.
I'm trying to get the names to not appear, but it seems that as soon as I press a key, Google just brings it back, which is like a very
Oh,
weird feature.
no worries. Oh, and before I forget, I did promise you a surprise before we end the meeting. So yeah, the surprise is that we will be incrementally revealing the prizes from today, and the prizes do include cash prizes, and there are not only prizes just for the participants, there are prizes for the mentors as well. So that was the surprise. Don't worry. Our prizes section was probably a little empty, which was also um, making you hindering your participation. But our first prize will be revealed after today's meeting, probably by 12 tonight, and we'll be like revealing a prize like after every week. So yeah, that was the surprise. And yeah, sorry if I interrupted any of your questions. You can ask me or anyone else whatever.
Sorry if I interrupted any of your questions, it seems.
Just after the MLH fellowship word was spoken, the chat box and everyone was just full of the oh my god, MLH fellowship and GSOC. Until then, the chat was just some and it was just with animals or kind of things. Sorry.
Do you have a good guide for, open source practices, best
I think
practices?
there shouldn't be a guide actually because the practice for every community differs.
Yeah.
And let's say here you're allowed to mention your mentors. Some communities frown upon that, and because of the scale of the communities. In some
Okay.
communities, you are allowed to send emails and work through emails, but some community do
No,
not.
no, 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 no. Let me rephrase that. Someone please make one for rotten scripts. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Let me put it this way. Is there a checklist for someone that's opening up a new GitHub repository to sort of stand out in the sense they have great practices, blah, blah, blah?
hmm. Probably the best thing you can have to attract more contributors or to stand out per se is have good documentation and a beginner-friendly README that will acquire new contributors. Because if the README is dead or if it doesn't contain anything, I wouldn't actually put in enough effort to go through your project unless it is a very famous one. Like, which is highly unlikely nowadays. If you wouldn't have a good review, it won't get famous. So,
Okay.
and probably no one actually cares much about your code quality unless it's a production project. And if your project is like has enough contributors, your code quality will improve massively. Maybe Harsh and Ankit and Priyansh can tell you more about what they follow in the project.
Prerequisites of so I think Sanskar can talk a bit about the open source and I can tell a bit about Explorer, since those are the tracks that he worked on. And
Oh,
Harsh also actually worked with me on Explorer, so he can add on after me.
I thought he
So
was
for
asking
Explorer,
for like
yeah.
having. I thought he was asking for having repositories that stand out in general.
No, there's a question in the chat, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So for Explorer, I think going to hackathons is one of the best things that you can do, like attend virtual hackathons. That would be like a prerequisite in my opinion. Like if you win prizes, even better. But one thing that you must do is to demonstrate that the product that you worked on, one was that you actually worked on it, because you will get questions asked on that particular project. So if you don't know like everything about it, like from end to end, then you'll probably be not having a good interview, right? That is one thing. As for best time, I'd say like this is not me saying it, but this is from the people that I know in the admission team. Like we should apply as soon as possible. That is what they have said. I don't know if that's the correct approach, but that's what I know. And
Yeah,
Harsh, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, so basically, the fellowship application process is at least at like three stages. First one is the initial application, then initial interview, then the technical interview, and then the final review. So some of the people have passed both of the interviews, and they are like stuck in this particular final stage. So it is all because of the time. Some people who interviewed early were given the early access to the batches, while some people who interviewed late, even though they are qualified, even though they have not been rejected, they might not be given a place in the class. So it is always better to have your application up and ready as soon as possible, apply as soon as possible, and interview as soon as possible.
yeah.
So don't delay the application process a bit.
I
Yes,
actually
Sanskar.
applied 1 hour after the applications were open. I was like following the channel, and at my time, I applied at like only 1 hour after the applications were open. What about you folks?
I applied quite late actually, like not late, but I think I applied around 3 weeks after application opened.
Yeah,
And so for me, what I thought was that I was not going to get selected, but I got my interview like uh, like the first interview, which is the behavioral interview, right around 2 weeks before the batch was starting, or I think 3 weeks, which was like right at the end, right when they closed the admissions process. So that is what happened with me.
Ankit, let's not compare gods and mortals here.
Exactly, exactly. Like, who will decline the queen of Wikimedia to come for a fellowship? Come on.
I okay, just so you know, Shubham, I became an admin this January, so like it's fair. It's a very recent development.
Yeah, so you were a GSOC student and mentor before that. Let's not forget those two parts.
Not mentor, just a student, right?
but I have seen other GSOC people get rejected in the fellowship as well. So
Yeah,
uh,
that is also a factor. Yeah. I mean,
do
a lot of it is going to be how much your application stands out, right? So typically, this is what I would call like any natural job interview process, right? Like for example, if you're applying at Google, there is always a fact that one of the interviewers must support you to go to the next step. So similarly, the point is that if in the application process you stand out at any of those interviews that you get, you have a naturally a higher chance of making it through the final application. And this applies to like all kinds of interviews.
yeah. So do we have any other questions? Probably
Yeah,
like
probably Mexili winter of
Mexili.
code related. Yeah.
I have another question. Like, if I have completed the Explorer track in fellowship, so can I also apply for open source?
You can even apply for the Explorer track over and over again.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
um, what if we want our project to be a part of Mixily? Like, in case if the project is
Send
like
me a DM.
okay,
Yeah,
You have to get approved by Ankit first.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
the org
You,
admin, yeah,
no, you can send either of us a DM. We'll have a look
okay,
and we'll let you know.
okay.
Yeah.
And right then, do we have any other questions? Or should we call this meeting?
Yeah, I had a question. Mm, just a beginner. I know basic Java and probably basic HTML, but how to select a project? I got the issues are more not are readable. I think that how to just understand them.
Uh,
It is more not interactive way. How to get that thing? What is the issue first?
Okay, so you can watch Code for Courses videos. They do have a lot of videos addressing this topic. But the approach I followed when I started with open source was seeing if the repository have good first issues or beginner issues tagged on their issue list. And then after you select an issue, probably tag the person who has opened the issue to follow on the thread. If not, you can go and talk in their chat rooms or IRCs, whatever. And probably then, my first contribution to an open source project was converting that text into a CSS image. Probably you can have a similar one, and as you increment your levels of solving issues, you will get to know more about the project. So seek for easy issues like CSS fix, image fix, adding alternate tags. I don't know how Java is written, so probably someone more experienced in Java can guide you with that. Okay. No one saw this elephant in the room, Nimit, but we'll answer it anyway.
Uh,
I'd like to pitch into the previous question before we move
Yeah.
to a different topic.
okay. What's the question?
This he was asking about, I don't even understand the issues. How do I get started
Oh,
contributing?
okay. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
on.
With this, it's okay. Above and beyond what Sanskar just told, it's also a matter of exposure, right? So one of the good things that we have, no, not we, they have it, Mexili, is that we're not contributing to really huge projects. We're contributing to projects on a smaller scale. This gives you a lot of exposure and
Right.
sort of gets your feet wet and lets you continue learning on that. So with practice, you should get to a point where you can be confident in, contributing to at least one project of your choice.
And like rightfully said by Sri Karan, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name
Karan, just call me Karan.
by Karan. And the adrenaline rush of getting a first PR merged is something else. I still remember it that day, and it's a boost for you to basically explore more issues.
Mm-hmm.
The first issue that you'll probably solve will take a lot of time, say a month or 2 months, but after that the time will substantially reduce.
Yeah, definitely. Like my first PR was probably what adding a Java parameter, JavaScript parameter actually. Yeah, like but yeah, now I'm like shit at JavaScript. But that was my first pull request, so it really doesn't need to be the same thing that you learn. It doesn't need to be anything. It just needs to be something that you want to make a change, right? That's something you want to improve. That is basically the goal for any PR.
And Akhil, did we answer your question? I'm sorry, we were all talking
Yeah,
amongst ourselves.
I got it. That we have to just do something for the project. That
Yes,
it can be small and it can be big. Okay.
and
Yeah.
even if you don't find an issue that you can understand, probably try using the project on your own and see where it lacks according to you. Open an issue yourself and see if mentors are willing to consider that addition or a bug fix in the project.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no worries.
Uh, ne- Also, like Nimit, just to tell you honestly, there is no best track, okay? And like, okay, so if you ask me, I'll say Explorer is the best track. And the reason that I'm saying is not because Explorer gives you more stuff or you get paid or anything like that. The only reason is that it's the hardest to work in because you have to make a hackathon project every 2 weeks, and there's an insane amount of work. So that means that the team bonding that you have with your team is essentially that much better, which is why I'd say Explorer is better. But I'm pretty sure someone who's worked in open source will tell you that open source is better because you have the feeling of going back to the community and all of that, right? So I think it's a person to person answer,
Yeah,
and I don't think there is a correct answer, so to say.
good one, Harsh. Yeah, that truly said. Mm,
Also, there might be a couple of new tracks coming for summer. Just say.
how do you know all this internal Emirate stuff, man?
Mike Swift said it on the
Yeah.
thing, right? On the Discord.
Oh, okay. Then it's cool.
Yeah, nice to help you, Nimit. So do you have any more questions?
You can call me
Especially
Captain Swift.
the last time you put MLH in your name, they had to change it. So I don't think I'll do that.
See, I
Uh,
didn't even put MLS in my name. I said totally not current, not from MLS.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
double negatives cancel out. Okay, but again, like, do we have any MWOC questions? Um, or just any question, like, since we're wrapping up, just the
Yeah.
last one. Yeah.
Hello, Bhaiya.
Yeah, go on.
Hello.
Hi, bro.
Where I just did my first contribution in WOC. I have a doubt that I want to get selected in GSOC this year, and I'm very new in open source. So, what should be the steps to go for a GSOC?
Harshit, have you okay? Have you finalized any organizations or any projects, or you are just like totally new to the T-shop
Bhaiya,
conversation?
while watching some videos of Code for Cause, I have some organization, but I don't know what to do after that.
Try getting in touch with those organizations and try singling out the project that you feel is good enough for your experience, like the technical experience, and you'll be interested in working in that. And after that, try connecting with the people who maintain the project or finding the issues on your own. It's actually no special sauce in this. It's always like this. You find a project, you connect with the people who are developing or maintaining it. You single out the issues that you want to work on. You get involved in the community, and you get to know the project better. And ultimately, in your proposal, you basically have an understanding of either what the organization expects from you or either what you want to do uh, during your Google Summer of Code, and then you do that. It's like all all the same things that we all follow. The thing which you can here optimize is probably looking for a project that is suitable enough for your technical experience or something that really excites you to work on, so that you have a drive to learn that difficulty for that specific project. All right. Enough of my preach. If anyone else has something to add on it, they can do so. Otherwise, we'll probably
Yeah,
wrap
no,
up.
I think you have said pretty much all that needed to be said. I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Awesome.
I will just add one more thing. So basically, I'm not a GSOCer, and possibly I will not get a chance to do GSOC because I'm working at Red Hat right now, and it will not possibly allow me to contribute to their open source projects because I'm already contributing. But these programs are just to help you get started as a beginner to open source community. And no matter how good project you are doing, no matter how much you are contributing, that will not guarantee a success. What will guarantee a success is your consistency and how are you being a part of the family. So be a part of the open source fraternity. Just provide your valuable contributions to that, and make sure that they really cherish it so that you can possibly get into these programs. Getting into these programs is a secondary factor. Being a part of these open source projects and the community is the first factor. So focus on the first, come to the second.
Nice. Truly said. Perfect. So yeah, we'll wrap up now. If yeah, if anyone has any other questions, you can DM us. We have admin tags, what tags, or Teamwork Mentors tag. You can find us in the list, or you can basically contact Ankit. He's the most active on Discord probably. So yeah, he
Yeah.
can he can forward you to us. All right then. Thank you
And
for
yeah,
attending this meeting.
yep.
Sorry, Ankit, go on.
I don't know. I was just gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say, yeah, thank you. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining this meeting, and I hope you have a valuable learning experience throughout and work, and you do some good contributions to the project. So,
And yeah,
bye.
good luck, folks.
The mentors are so lit.
Yeah.
I hope you guys have these meetings again.